course, Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network at Baldy NFL. You can always check out the Baldy breakdowns, and he is always a very good breaking down the offensive line play. And that has been one of the big questions about this Philadelphia Eagles team. What about this offensive line? And Baldy's a guy who, played in the trenches. He's a guy who can really break down. And I know Brian Baldinger, and we're going to talk to him about this, which was the fact that Jordan Mailata is a guy that Baldy really liked a couple of years ago when they first took him, and you saw him, and you saw him, and you saw him. And Baldy was always very high on Jordan Mailata. So I want to kind of get the breakdown of how Mailata changes this line. But let's start there, Baldy. Of course, as we talked about, Brian Baldinger, Compass Media, he'll have the call for maybe the best matchup of the weekend between the Chiefs and the Browns. We'll get to that matchup too. But I want to get your take on, Baldy, this Eagles offensive line and the anticipation. They got to the regular season, we think anyway, healthy, and how much of a difference that will make for a team that only won 4 games last year.
It could be the total difference, Mike. I expect them to go to Atlanta and steamroll them. They're going to be able to run the football now. It remains to be seen how Jalen Hurts sees the field and third downs and red zone and 2-minute and how they respond. But up front, wait till they get Landon Dickerson in there. He was just the best lineman in the draft by far. Just the nastiest guy to come out of college football since Quentin Nelson. But Mailata's a beast. Lane Johnson's healthy. Brooks is back in there. They should be very, very good up front. I expect them to be a top 3 to 5 offensive line. I've told Lane that all summer, that if they don't and if they aren't, then shame on them because they have everything it takes to be really good up front.
Okay, now you play the offensive line, so you know that position well. If you have that position as one of the top 3 to 5 in football, what does that mean for your outlook on the team this season?
Well, you still have to do all the other things. You got to play sound special teams, Mike. You got to take care of the football, a lot of stuff. But, if you're going to win the line of scrimmage on Sundays, give your quarterback time, open things up for Miles and Kenneth Gainwell, the rookie, and who else? That's a great place to start. There's nobody. Washington with their front. You go Cleveland with their front. You go against teams that have great fronts. I think Philadelphia can neutralize any of them. So I think it's just a good place to start every week when you can win in the trenches because that's where it's usually won and lost.
It sure is. And last year they had all sorts of problems there. We hope that's a spot that kind of gets changed. Another spot where they've made some changes is obviously a quarterback. Did we get enough of Hurts last year to formulate an opinion? Do you have to see a lot more of him, or do you kind of have a good feeling of what to anticipate from him this season?
Well, you got to see more than 4 games. Nobody can make an evaluation in 4 games. I was around him a little bit this offseason, worked out with him some. He's an unbelievable leader, an unbelievable person. And, it all starts with him. He's up at 5 every day. He's working out. He takes care of his business. It's just, he took every first-team rep this summer. When I saw him in some scrimmages, against the Jets, he's running too early. He just got to stay in there and make these reads, and that just remains to be seen. He has said, though, that the only guy that has really coached him at the position to become better was Lincoln Riley. And when he was at Oklahoma with Lincoln for the year, he did improve. He didn't feel like at Alabama and last year in Philly that he really got coached. So hopefully Nick and his staff over there, Shane Steichen and all the guys, are working with him, to really hone his skills. But to answer your question, 4 games isn't enough to make an evaluation. He's got to be able to stay in there, not read the rush, keep his eyes downfield, throw the ball with some touch. There's a lot that we have to learn about him yet.
Yep, and it all starts on Sunday right here on 97.3 ESPN, the Eagles and the Falcons. Let's go to that defensive side of the ball because, last year you had obviously a different defensive mindset with Jim Schwartz. You're bringing in Jonathan Gannon, also somewhat of an unknown as a coordinator here, but the Eagles have some interesting talent on that side of the ball, but it's older talent, Baldy. Graham, Fletcher Cox, Kerrigan, McLeod. We don't know his situation. So if they can stay healthy, do they have a good enough defense to stay competitive? Slay, Nelson, I forgot about those guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you started off by saying they got a lot of age, and they do. And you just don't know. I mean, Brandon and Fletcher have been good players, at times great players. Same with Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Kerrigan, I mean, they basically kept him in bubble wrap all preseason. They're saving him. You know, he's going to play that Chris Long role. They hope they can get 15 or 20 good snaps out of him a game. It remains to be seen if he still has the power and the strength that he once had. They gave, you know, a lot of right tackles fits in this league. If they can, then I think the rotation with Josh Sweat and, you know, the rookie Milton Williams and, you know, some of the guys they have there, they like to play 8 guys and keep them fresh and rotate them through. That won't change. They're a front 4 dominant team. They got to turn and run to the ball. I mean, you're going to see effort from this Jonathan Gannon defense, and that's a good place to start. The secondary is still, like, Slay was horrible last year, but he's a better player than that. So I expect him to come back around, and, you know, we'll see. We'll see how some of these guys are. I'm a big Zach McPherson fan. We'll see how he plays if he gets a chance. But they need to find some guys in the secondary that can tackle and can make some plays, for crying out loud.
Baldy, where's Atlanta at this stage? They got the new coach. They lost Julio Jones. They got a 36-year-old quarterback. They've been porous defensively. Their line's seemingly been a mess for a while. So is this the perfect week 1 opponent for Philadelphia? What kind of Falcons team should we anticipate?
Well, I think the coach is really sharp. I mean, the Eagles were very interested in him. You know, they interviewed him. They just didn't have a chance. I mean, I think he's very organized. And that's a good place to start. You know, innovative and organized is some good traits to have as a head coach. I just don't see like a great roster, period. I don't see a great running back. I don't see a dominant offensive line, even though they drafted first-round picks forever. I think Calvin Ridley is a really good player, maybe a great player. We got to see what Kyle Pitts, the Philadelphia native, looks like. He was a difference maker in college. We'll see how he adjusts. Defensively, they were just awful. I mean, no team broke down more than the Falcons, and that's one of the reasons why they fired Dan Quinn. You know, he just could not get the defense together. I don't think they have any kind of a pass rush. If Dante Fowler Jr. is their best pass rusher, maybe Grady Jarrett inside, I mean, I think they can handle those guys. So, you know, I think they're in a rebuilding mode. So, you know, I think they're the 4th best team in that division, and I think they're clearly in rebuilding mode right now.
Thursday Night Football, it's Tampa and Dallas, and obviously the defending champs get that spotlight. But this Dallas team's got their quarterback back, but he missed the entire preseason and didn't practice all that much. So entering this opener, do we think Dallas is back, or will it take a couple of weeks before we see if Dallas is back?
And, Mike, you missed the last 11 weeks of the season last year.
True.
Like, this game it's not fantasy football. Like, it takes precision and timing to execute plays in the league. And he simply hasn't been out there. I don't expect him to be sharp. I saw Tom Brady practice in the preseason. I haven't seen anybody practice like that before in my life. I mean, it's unbelievable, Mike. I mean, in obscene heat, the guy is a machine. I mean, he's talking to every player and every coach after every play. But then, you know, and he played 20. He got hit. He got sacked. Heck, against the Texans, I saw him complete 10 in a row. Ball didn't hit the ground. Like, I don't expect Dallas to play like that. Now, I'll say this. They're rebuilding the defense. They drafted this Micah Parsons out of Penn State. Everybody kind of knows who he is. But, man, they're building the whole defense around him, Mike. And, you know, he played in 3 preseason games, and he looks dynamite. And I think he's up to the task. I mean, he's doing everything. And if he becomes – I think he could become a real star. There's not many guys that have his skill set. You know, that's going to be fun to watch, just him out in the field. But Tampa, well, they practice hard. They played. Everybody played in the preseason. They got a lot of preseason reps under them. I think they're ready to go.
On Sunday, Brian Baldinger, Compass Media, they will have the call for Kansas City, Cleveland. Might be the best Week 1 matchup of them all. And you just mentioned Tom Brady. You're going to get to see Patrick Mahomes and this Cleveland team, which a lot of people are starting to believe in now. So you're getting a look at maybe 2 of the best teams in the AFC.
No question about it. I'm really excited, Mike. Really excited. I've been watching, you know, Kansas City. Andy Reid has always taken the approach. You probably remember when he was in Philly. Like, he liked to play his guys in the preseason. He liked to get him toughened up, get him hit, and he did. He got him out there, for 3 preseason games. They all played. They rebuilt their entire offensive line. Zeus at left tackle, Tooney at left guard, the rookie Creed Humphrey at center, Trey Smith at right guard, Lucas Niang, who they drafted last year in the 3rd round, missed last year because of COVID. It looks like a really good line. And they're going to get tested by Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney and, JOK. Like, they're going to get tested. But I expect when the season ends that Kansas City, not just because it's a 17-game schedule now, but I think they're going to set a record for points scored in a season.
Wow.
I just don't know how you're going to stop or slow down this offense right now. I think the line is, they knew it was a problem, they addressed it, and I believe they fixed it.
That game after Eagles-Falcons will get you out to Chris Carino and Brian Baldinger, Cleveland, Kansas City, right here on Compass Media 97.3 ESPN. We'll give you all the football on Sunday. We'll go Eagles, Cleveland, Kansas City, and Sunday Night Football right here on Sunday on 97.3 ESPN. At Baldy NFL, check out Baldy's breakdowns, and we hope to talk to Brian Baldinger throughout the NFL season here on the Sports Bash. Thank you, Baldy.
My pleasure, Mike. Anytime.